Welcome to Eat, Pray, Love, Heal, Repeat. I am your host, LETITIA LAURIEN, the social architect, and this is another space for your healing playground. We are here to talk about all of the things that lead to healing, restoration, and all that comes with being well as you learn to take your unique journey towards wholeness. This podcast is an authentic embrace, soothing realness, and conscious space to support the necessary transformation, spiritual awakening, and healing within and around you. So fall back, listen with intention, and open your heart and mind as you come into conversation with me on our continued journey to wellness. Hey y'all, welcome to Eat, Pray, Love, Heal, Repeat. I am your host, LETITIA LAURIEN, the social architect, here to assist you on your journey to wellness. So here I am in the world and space of podcasting, which has been an interesting journey already, and we're only at the pre-launch. So I hats off to all podcasters. I did not know all that goes on to create a podcast, all that has to go into the production of it and everything. And so, yes, much respect. This is definitely God-led, because if I had anything to do with it, I don't know, it probably wouldn't exist. But here I am, being obedient. And I just want to talk a little bit about what this podcast is all about, what you can expect. So one of my things one of the assignments I feel like I have here in this space we call Earth is to create spaces for healing. And one of those, and I do have done that in various ways thus far. And one of those ways that I recently created was this space in podcasting. I was led to create a space such as this to continue to assist people in their wellness journeys and to understand how to start one, as well as how to maintain the wellness journey. And just to share a little bit of my own story and what led me to this space as it relates to mental and emotional health, and most recently, more holistically, physical and spiritual health as well. So I, for years, struggled with depression. And anxiety as well. Depression, I would say, was the primary, and anxiety was a secondary. And also a lot of the symptoms that I had were related to those two, what I call demons. For years I suffered from a lot of GI problems. I learned into later adulthood, that many of those GI problems also were due to just some eating habits that I needed to change, and some things that I found out about, being more mindful about the way that I eat, what I eat, how I eat. And that had a lot to do with subsiding a lot of the gastrointestinal problems I was having. However, there was a lot of symptoms also that were exacerbated and intensified due to some of the mental health struggles that I was having with the depression and the anxiety. And I met all the symptoms as it relates to depression. It was anywhere from isolation to crying spells to agitation to hopelessness and mood swings, sadness, and the list goes on. And, these symptoms started, and I didn't realize this until into adulthood. These symptoms started when I was a child, in my youth. And when I look back and, as I went into adulthood, they just intensified, stuck around longer. And, I know a lot of people, especially, most recently, in the people that we've lost due to dying by suicide. I often hear a lot of people say, though he or she they seem so happy. They seem like, they were so excitable, charismatic. They were such a good husband or wife, or just great at what they do. People look forward to them being around. They were so funny and they seemed happy. I think what society doesn't realize is that depression does not have a face. Okay, it does not discriminate. You can have a person who was just talking to a few people today. You can have a person who comes through the door with the most, in physically look like they are the most happiest person, smile on their face, and they can come skipping in the room, telling jokes, have everybody laughing, right? And then you have the next person come through the door and there's not really much of a smile, kind of flat affect, and they're just coming and sitting down. And you would look at that person and probably say, well, what is wrong with them? When actually there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. That person that just came in the room and sat down is living a life of wellness. And that person that you saw coming, fluttering through the room, making everybody laugh, happy, telling all the jokes, they're suffering mentally and emotionally. And the thing about it is, I think we need to do a better job to stop putting these labels on emotion, right? And we need to do a better job at doing more listening rather than talking. We need to do a better job at providing more spaces for people to feel comfortable talking about some of their struggles and issues, and not just having those conversations and starting them up when something happens, especially when something happens to, a person who may be of influence in some way, shape, or form. And then we start these conversations and then they die out after about 2 to 3 weeks until the next, till the next time. We need to stop, and we need to just focus on not using all the happy and sad and using emotions in that way, but just work towards starting to build relationship, right? Build relationship with people. And I just know when I was suffering from depression, it was painful. I was suffering. And the thing that I often talk about in that is that when it comes to, because people have asked me, have you ever felt like you wanted to take your own life? And when you were suffering in that, and I tell them, suicidal ideations have crossed my mind during that time, in those years that I was suffering in it. But it wasn't that I wanted to, it's not that I wanted to harm myself. It's that I wanted the suffering to stop. This is the thing. You go through things. There's a million little things that leads to a person wanting to harm themselves. It's not just one thing, not just two things. It's not just one or two people. It's a million little things. And the thing about it is that we have to be mindful of the fact that we are humans. We are living here on this earth, and we are going to experience pain. You are not going to avoid it as a human being. What we can avoid is suffering in the pain. That is the goal. And that became my goal. And I finally realized that I need to shoot for eliminating the suffering, not trying to run from the pain. And that's what I was trying to do for so many years. And that is what led to the suicidal ideations, because I was trying to run from pain, knowing good and well, I can't run from pain. What I have to do, I have to learn how to manage it. I have to learn how to bounce back. I have to get some tools to be able to live in the valley when the valleys come, right? Because in life, there's valleys and there's mountains. And what we have to do, it's easy to be on the mountaintop. It's easy when you're up there on the mountain and you can see, you can see it all. You can see everybody and everybody in their own valleys, and you can see people on their mountaintops. But boom, what happens now when you hit a valley? What happens when you're down, right? It's hard to see. You can't see up very well. It's not clear. It looks like there's these mountains all around you, and you feel like you're suffocating and nobody understands. What do? You need tools. You need tools to make it through the valley, to be able to climb back up, because it always happens. It's just a matter of time when we can get back up, and so it's the ebb and flow of life. And I learned that for myself. And it is always about the person. It's a choice. It is a choice to live. It's a decision. It's nobody else's fault when you experience the loss of a loved one in that way. So this is why I created this podcast, Eat, Pray, Love, Heal, Repeat. I created this space for people to be able to come to and be able to build a toolbox, one that they can use for themselves when they need to use it, for whatever situations they need to use it for. But it's building up different tools, building up different things that you can grab at any moment in order to be able to be resilient, in order to be able to survive, in order to seek from within to get what you need in order to survive in the valley so that you are able to get back up on that mountaintop. This is what we are here for. This is what this space is all about. And it's about taking a more holistic approach to living. We're going to be on here talking about, we're going to be talking about the body. We're going to be talking about the mind. We're going to be talking about the spirit and the integration of all of those, because all of that makes up who we are as a human being. The thing is, when, there has to be a breakthrough. You have to decide to take a journey, that leads to a discovery of how you take control over your feelings, over your behavior, that can lead to an emotional and spiritual breakthrough. And those demons, see, the thing is, they're not going anywhere. Okay. Even though I've been healed from depression. Now, don't get me wrong. I can feel when it tries to creep back in, because I'm very sensitive to it and I'm very mindful of it. And I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. And that demon of depression is very insidious. It's very insidious, and I know it. And the thing is, what I've learned is, since I've know how to call it out, it doesn't overtake me as easy. It doesn't win. I win now. It doesn't win, because I have been able to gather up the tools needed so that I can beat it. But the thing is, it's a journey. It's a journey that we have to go on. And that's why with this podcast, this is a journey to wellness. That's what this podcast is for. It's what it's here for. That's what it's all about. And the thing with me is I had to learn how those demons get stronger and how they use my existing pain to grow and make me weak. And this led to a war. It was me against them on the battlefield of life. And I had to become intentional about training myself to beat them. And the journey began. And so, I eventually started to, change the way I ate, who and what I listened to, my friend groups, how I spent my time, how I loved and who I loved, and decided that healing was a choice. It is a choice. And then people that know me, they often ask me, oh, how you doing today? You know what my response is now, majority of the time? I choose to be well. Because it is a choice, right? So I decided to take that journey, and I'm happy that I did. And the thing about it is, like I said, I found out that I just wanted the pain to go away. And when you find out that, I wanted the suffering to go. And when you find out that the suffering can go, but the pain can't, you just got to learn how to manage it. And you got to learn how to live through it. You got to learn how to live well through it. And once you can do that and you keep repeating it and doing it and doing it and doing it all over again, and I don't want to sit here and say it becomes easier, but it is so rewarding. Because what I've learned, if I would have took my life years ago, I would not have been able to experience the growth and evolution of LETITIA LAURIEN. I would not be here to be able to continue to provide spaces for healing, not only for other people, for myself. I just think about all of the beautiful spirits that I have met, all of the beautiful people that I have met through the years, and how I could have cut all of that short, because there is purpose. There's purpose in our lives, and I'm not talking about it's this huge. Everybody wants to think it's this huge purpose. It's not this huge purpose. And it's the smile at the gas tank. It's the conversation in the long line. It's the waiting. It's all those little things that is purpose in that. And so we have to stop rushing. We have to allow ourselves to be still. Be still wherever God has you at any given time, because there is purpose in that. There is purpose in waiting in that long line. There is purpose in smiling back. There is purpose in saying hello. There's purpose in waiting at the gas tank and having a conversation with the person that's pumping gas next to you. There's purpose in picking up the penny. I'm being, I'm taking it to that level because it's that deep. It's that deepest person. It's purpose in all of that. That's what I've learned. And everybody's looking for this huge thing, but there's not this huge thing. God just wants us to just be who we are at any given moment. And that is where our purpose lies. That is love. So my whole way of living changed, and I started to take, a more holistic approach to the design of my life and what I allowed in it. As I stated earlier, I just became more mindful of what I was eating, what I was praying for, and how I was praying, and what and who I was loving. And these intentional steps led to my healing, and it takes me repeating these steps over and over again. It's a journey of intentional seeking and using tools that keep me in a well space. And I'm going to tell you, the foundation of my journey is God. And he led me to this liberation and freeing my mind, freeing my body, freeing my spirit. So do believe this podcast is faith-based and Christ-centered. I can't do it any other way. Okay. So this wellness journey with God in the forefront of it has continued to lead me. So you can expect him to be an intricate part of this podcast. And I'll bring in other philosophies and discuss how they parallel to those of Christ, because there is something to be learned there. I've learned that in my healing journey as well. We have to allow ourselves to remain open and curious. And if we want to experience true healing from mental, spiritual, and emotional and physical suffering, as I said, suffering is a choice, but pain is inevitable. And because we're human. And just a little, tad bit about me. I've been in this field in the field of social work for over 25 years. And many of those I worked as a mental health therapist. I'm a I have a license in clinical social work. I also hold certifications in as a yoga and a meditation teacher. And as of this episode, I'm working towards completing my certification as a Christian yoga teacher. And I'm also currently in training as a course for yoga therapy to become a yoga therapist. And I'll be using a lot of that wisdom with my God-given talents and skills to assist you all in constructing your own, what I call healing playgrounds. And whether you feel that you on a battlefield with your own demons or have already begun your own journey or still suffering and just wondering, then this is going to be the podcast for you. This journey has been so rewarding for me, and I'm so excited about assisting you as you create your own pathways to wellness. So you're in for a treat. I'm super excited. I finally started this podcast, and I'm excited about what God is going to do here, and what He has in store. Over the course of time, we'll be bringing on guests. In between me and them, those who invite on our show, we'll continue to seek out tools needed for your journey and how to use them to intentionally live well. Because again, if you don't hear anything else from me, you are going to remember that it is a choice. With this podcast, expect laughter, expect realness, expect growth. Expect God to show up and always expect a little sarcasm, because after all, I am a true Gemini. And the sarcasm just came along in my blood. So it's not going anywhere. So don't take anything personal, y'all. Let's just laugh. Okay. Don't be so uptight. Be a little open-minded. Some of you may be wondering what the concept of a healing playground I just mentioned a little earlier is all about. So stay tuned in, okay, for episode 1, because we are going to be going in a little more detail about that and what this has to do with our wellness journey. Expect new episodes every second and fourth Wednesday of each month. At this time, the first episode is already posted, so you can go there after this show and continue on to that one. The launch of the second episode should be on December 28th, and from that point, it's going to be every second and fourth Wednesday. So we're going to get you geared up for the new year. So the podcast will be posted on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. We're going to make sure that the links to the YouTube page, they're put in the show notes, as well as the website. My website is looseleaf, one word, looseleaf.com. I'm sorry, looseleafllc.com, looseleafllc.com. And, go there, read a little bit more about me and some of the other things that I do. If don't forget, go to YouTube page. Don't forget to subscribe. Also subscribe on the website, and you'll be able to get some additional tools, some supplemental tools there. I'll be doing some newsletters and things like that. Sometimes some video to be able to help supplement your journey. And so additional content will be there. So definitely subscribe, because that's where you'll see what I'll be doing and where I'll be doing it. And also, you'll be able to look at links. You'll be able to get the links to the Facebook and Instagram pages by going to the website. So you can also become a follower there, where I'll be posting additional information. And you'll also get firsthand when new shows have arrived, so that you don't miss out. So, last thing before I go, another thing that you can also expect is inspirational quotes. Because guess what? Those things and affirmations are a couple of the tools that assisted me on my journey, and continue to. So I told myself on this podcast at the end, we are going to always have an inspirational quote as of now until I'm led to do something else. So, inspirational quote moment. What that entails is I have a lot of quotes. I have a box of quotes, and I'm just going to randomly pick, and we're going to see what we come up with. And you take it for whatever it means for you in this season at this time in your life. Okay. All right. So here we go. Let's see. So, inspirational quote. Here we go. If you want to fly, give up everything that weighs you down. If you want to fly, give up everything that weighs you down. Ain't that the truth? All right, y'all. This healing playground is closed for now, but continue working on the design of your own. And remember, outside of laughter, you need to eat, pray, love, heal, and repeat it all over again.